Great. So welcome to Spoken Word from Deep Adaptation Forum. And we're going to read the Thanksgiving address. And Dagmar, well, the Thanksgiving address is greetings to the natural world, words before all else. And Dagmar, you'll be able to explain and say where these came from better than I. So please do.
Yeah, I will just read a little bit from the book that we have here, the Thanksgiving Address, also known as Words Before All Else. Basically, the words of Thanksgiving Address comes to us from the native people known as the Haudenosaunee, or as people would call them more familiarly, the Iroquois, the 6 nations of the Iroquois, which are the Mohawk, Oneida, Cayuga, Onondaga, Seneca, and Tuscarora, all residing in upstate New York and Canada in the United States, also known as Third Island. So the Thanksgiving Address is something that they, as a people, when they gather together, or the different tribes within the nations, they, generally speaking, they'll use this address before they go about their business, is what I've heard. That so that it includes, as we'll speak, it includes everything and everyone. It gives thanks. So I think, is that okay?
Yeah, wonderful. So do you want to start with the people? After each phrase, we can together, Stephen, you say, now our minds are one. That is the phrase that follows each station.
Yes, everyone says that together,
Yeah.
It begins with the people, acknowledging the people. Today we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continues. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one, as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one.
The Earth Mother. We are all thankful to our mother, the Earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk about upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us, as she has from the beginning of time. To our mother, we send greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one.
The waters. We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the spirit of water. Now
our minds are one. The fish. We turn our minds to all the fish life in the water. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water. So we turn now to the fish and send our greetings and thanks.
Now our minds are one. Now we turn toward the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come. Now
our minds are one. The food plants. With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all the food plants we harvest from the garden. Since the beginning of time, the grains, vegetables, beans, and berries have helped the people survive. Many other living things draw strength from them too. We gather all the plant foods together as one and send them a greeting and thanks. Now our minds are one.
The medicine herbs. And now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. They are always waiting and ready to heal us. We are happy there still are among us those special few who remember how to use these plants for healing. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the medicines and to keepers of the medicines. Now
our minds are one. The animals. We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animal life in the world. They have many things to teach us as people. We see them near our homes and in the deep forests. We are glad they are still here, and we hope that it will always be so. Now our minds are one.
The trees. Now we turn to our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many people of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we greet and thank the tree of life. Now
our minds are one. The birds. We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our joyful greetings and thanks. Now
our minds are one. To the four winds. We are thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the morning air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help to bring and change the seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. So now with one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. Now
our minds are one. The thunderers. Now we turn to the west where our grandfathers, the thunder beings, live. With lightning and thundering voices, they bring with them the water that renews life. We bring our minds together as one to send greetings and thanks to our grandfathers, the thunderers. Now our minds are one.
The sun. We now send greetings and thanks to our eldest brother, the sun. Each day without fail, he travels the sky from east to west, bringing the light of a new day. He is the source of all the fires of life. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our brother, the sun. Now our minds are one.
Grandmother Moon. We put our minds together and give thanks to our oldest grandmother, the moon, who lights the nighttime sky. She is the leader of women all over the world, and she governs the movement of the ocean tides. By her changing face, we measure time, and it is the moon who watches over the arrival of children here on earth. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our grandmother, the moon.
Now our minds are one. The stars. We give thanks to the stars who are spread across the sky like jewelry. We see them in the night, helping the moon to light the darkness and bringing the dew to the gardens and growing things. When we travel at night, they guide us home. With our minds gathered together as one, we send greetings and thanks to all the stars. Now our minds are one.
The enlightened teachers. We gather our minds to greet and thank the enlightened teachers who have come to help throughout the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we were instructed to live as people. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to these caring teachers. Now our minds are one.
Now our minds are one.
can I ask something? The very first one was the people, right?
Mhm.
Can you repeat that one quickly? Because I wasn't really tuned in to that
Do
one.
do you want to wait until we?
Yeah, let's do the
We have
last
just-
one. We're on to the
Oh,
last one, and then we'll
okay, there's
we'll
one more.
close
Yeah,
with that. one.
okay.
To the Creator. Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator, or Great Spirit, and send greetings and thanks for all the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is here on Mother Earth. For all the love that is still around us, we gather our minds together as one and send our choicest words of greetings and thanks to the Creator.
Now our minds
are
are
one.
one. The people. Today we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one, as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one.
Okay, well, I have a little surprise for you because I have a song that I heard from Oren Lyons, who is a chief of the Onondaga, which is an honor song. And if you give me a minute, I'll grab my drum and I'd like to add that to the end
Okay,
of
great.
our
And I
little
will say
thing.
the closing words, or Dagmar, are you ready to say the closing words?
Yeah, there are closing words to this,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Do we want to do that after after Stephen, you do your song? Let's do that.
okay,
Okay.
just a moment.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I'm so glad you had the book right there.
Yeah.
I
You
love
see,
doing it together like that.
I know.
Yeah,
You gave me this book, right?
I thought so, yes.
Yeah, I took it with me to the Friendsgiving weekend. And it was great.
Oh,
It was
that's
great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Vanessa is taking me tomorrow, by the way. So I'll send the present home with her. for you.
Okay, honey.
Hope
Thank
she
you.
Are you going up on Friday?
Sunday, Sunday.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And we'll still do our lunch together and all that. Do you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll take the train to Westchester and
Oh, well, I was gonna,
I'm gonna stand up and do this
Okay.
standing.
we'll work that out.
yeah.
Go ahead, Stephen, we're ready.
Hey, 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 hey,
Oh,
Oh.
All beings.
yeah.
Okay, so I heard him offer that song, 25 or 30 years ago. I think it was out when I was in Colorado, but I can't remember. But I remembered it and I sing it now and then. So
And I'm
So
glad you had
that's
your
it.
drum nearby.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
my drum is in my room, so it's not going to be far away. I don't use it very often,
Okay.
unfortunately. So, so you want to? What's this last thing you do at the end?
Did we
After
already
this-
do it?
Closing words. Do you want me to
Closing
say them,
words.
Doug? You got it?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Closing words. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way. And
now our minds are one.
Yeah, I would love to have heard that in Iroquois.
I know, and the book,
Not,
the book does have it written in Iroquois.
oh,
It
you don't know
does.
how it sounds. You don't know how it sounds, though.
No,
No.
Yeah,
I
you
can,
don't know how it sounds. Yeah,
yeah,
you need a recording to be able to do that.
yeah, true,
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
true.
what should,
Okay, so Dagmar's
I-
going to do her 2 short stories.
Yep.
Great.
And I will play my flute before I read. How's that?
Great.
Okay, okay.
Let's see if she's ready. Hold on. Yeah. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew.
Very nice.
Mm. It's the story of the maple tree from the Lenape Nation, as told by Chief Bob Redhawk. Many, many moons ago, one of the most beautiful trees around was the maple, and its roots reached deep into the earth and its branches reached high into the heavens. But at one time, a large group of bugs crawled into the maple's bark, and it was itching and itching and itching the old maple. It was driving the maple tree crazy, because even though the maple tree has many branches and shoots and roots, it could not bend down and reach all parts of itself to scratch. We know how that is, right? So it called out to all of its friends in the animal kingdom. It called out and said, "Hey, can someone please give me some relief from all this itching?" So the beaver said, "Well, maple tree, I can probably do it, but if I start chewing on your bark, I'll probably kill you. So that wouldn't help you that much." Then little mouse said to Maple, "Well, maybe I can dig down into your roots and get my brothers and the voles and the moles and the gophers, but we'll end up starting to kill your roots and that will kill you." So then Bear came up and said, "Well, maple tree, I have these nice big claws. I could start clawing at your bark and that will probably shred you up, don't you think?" So they all sat back and began to think about how they could help Maple Tree. Finally, one of the birds was flying by and it was a flicker. The flicker said, "Well, Maple Tree, I have a cousin. How about I get all those guys to come and their beaks are sharp and they can dig in you, but they won't hurt you." So they called all of his woodpecker friends and they flew over and started pecking at the tree and got all the bugs out of him. The tree was so happy and everything was going along nicely. And all of a sudden, a couple of years later, there was very little rain. It got very dry and all the animals were getting very thirsty. The creeks and the rivers had all dried up and they didn't know where to go. They were all bemoaning the fact, and the maple tree heard them. The maple tree said to them, "You know, the animals helped me the time I was suffering from all those bugs biting me. So now I think I have an idea." So he called to his friends, the flicker again, and said to the flicker, "Flicker, you helped me in my time of need and I want to help you. Call up your woodpecker buddies again." So they called the woodpecker buddies and the maple tree said to them, "Now, I want you to peck deep into my bark and then wait for a second. And soon some of my sap will run out and you can slack your thirst by drinking my sap. So the woodpecker tried it. And when they did, the sap flowed and flowed and flowed from the maple tree. So now that gift saved everybody until the next rain came and they were able to drink from the creeks again. And it was from that gift from the maple to the animals that man learned how to make maple syrup by watching and waiting, and then know how to tap those maple trees when the sap runs. Maple syrup was precious because the two-leggeds could make something sweet, especially in the winter time, in the time when there were no berries to pick and no sweet things to eat. So now, that was the time when we really appreciate the gift of the maple tree. And so it was, and so it still is. Aho.
Oh,
That's the story of the maple tree.
it's very sweet.
And then just a quick thing about, we all know we have these Wawas everywhere, right? The coffee station, the food station.
You're familiar with that, Stephen? You're in
What's the-
Seattle.
Wawa?
It's the convenience store called Wawa.
Oh, in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
I may have seen it, but I wouldn't have known unless you said
Oh.
something. We have a Korean store here that has a similar name, but it's not Wawa. It's something else. So
It's
okay,
Wawa, right?
Yeah.
So Wawa.
WAWA, right?
Yeah, and that's actually a Lenape word, which
It
means
is.
the geese flying, the geese.
Aha. The geese.
Um,
Where are the Lenape? I forgot.
They're
In
the
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania,
Okay.
southeastern quadrant of the
Yeah, because
Pennsylvania.
I've seen the name, I've heard writing, spoken things, but I couldn't exactly locate them. Okay,
Yeah,
very good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is also the teachings from the Wawa clan. It's also told by Bob Red Hawk, the chief of the Lenape Nation. Anyway, yeah. So this is what the Wawa clan teaches us. The geese when they fly. So as each bird flaps its wings, it creates uplift for the birds following. And by flying in a V formation, the whole flock adds about 71% greater flying range than when flying alone. So the lesson to the two-leggeds from this is people who share a common direction and sense of community can get where they are going quicker and easier because they're traveling on the strength of one another.
Yeah.
Fact number 2. When the lead goose gets tired, it rotates back into the formation and another goose flies at the point position. Lesson to the two-leggeds is it pays to take turns doing the hard tasks and sharing leadership. Fact number 3, the goose in formation honk from behind to encourage those up front to keep up their speed. The lesson to the two-leggeds is we need to make sure our honking from behind is encouraging and not something else. Lesson
Yes, we
4.
do.
Okay.
And
Well,
what-
I can tell you a goose story since you mentioned that.
Yeah,
And actually, it's a true story. It's something that
Stephen, I
someone
don't know if
witnessed.
Dagmar is finished.
I just have one more.
Yeah,
sorry.
One more fact. When one goose gets sick or is shot down, 2 geese drop out of formation and follow it down to help and protect it. They stay with it until it is able to fly again or if it dies. Lesson 4 for the humans. If we have as much sense as geese, we too will stand by each other in difficult times as well as when we are strong. And that's the gifts from the Wawa clan to the humans. Aho.
Okay, well, this is about a goose.
Thank you,
and
Dagmar.
Thank you, Dagmar. That was beautiful. That's what your stories reminded me of.
Yeah.
It was witnessed, I'm not sure where it was, if it was in somewhere in the north central United States, I think, was a frozen lake. And the freeze had gotten so bad that when the geese took off, one of them's feet were frozen to the ice. It couldn't fly.
Mm-hmm.
And it let out distress calls. And there was no one around. There were no geese. There was nobody. And apparently this fellow or this woman was watching this. And suddenly a line of swans flew across the sky, and they heard the distress calls, and they flew down. The swans and geese are not particularly good friends, and they made a circle around the frozen goose, and they started using their beaks to break up the ice, and they never hit or harmed the goose, but they freed it.
Oh my God.
And it flew up with incredible joy.
Oh, that is a beautiful story.
Yeah, they broke their formation.
Yeah.
Not the whole flock, but a number of them broke their formation, flew down to the ice, and pecked forcefully, but not enough to harm the goose until it was able to get its feet free.
And you watched this? You were there?
I didn't see this. Someone saw this. If I'd seen it, it would have been, mind-blowing. No, it was a story that I heard from that someone had actually seen this happen.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So it wasn't a myth. It was an actual thing where
someone witnessed
these swans broke formation to save this one goose.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
wow.
So, okay. Well, that was really quite special. So, Dawn, are you ready?
Are we doing the honey thief?
Yeah.
All right. Which chapter is it?
It's called The Beekeeper's Journey, Chapter 9.
Okay, 171.
Now, what's this story? Have you been reading
this is from
together?
a book called The Honey Thief. It's stories from the Hazara people in Afghanistan. This is from an emigrate to Australia. They were a persecuted minority. They were the remnants of Genghis Khan's soldiers 900 years ago who stayed behind, and they were different from the Afghans, and they've been persecuted their entire time there. And this is a lot of their teaching stories. It's a very beautiful book. We've read several of the stories before, Dawn and I, and Linda Hill. Yeah. So
Stephen, it's 36 pages.
No, we're not going to read the whole thing.
Okay. What from what page to what page?
Maybe we'll read 15 pages or so.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how far we get.
What's it called again? Sorry.
The Beekeeper's Journey. The story is The Honey Thief. It's about a boy who was trained to keep bees by a master beekeeper. And there's all kinds of others. There's the music school. There's the dowry. There's amazing stories in here.
Okay.
And incredible. If you like cooking, the whole back of the book is Afghan recipes. Because,
oh gosh, yes.
Yes.
Is there an author? I mean,
yes, the author. It's a co-author, Najaf Mazari and Robert Hillman. Robert Hillman is an Australian writer, and Najaf Mazari is the Hazara who settled in Australia, and they worked together to produce this book.
Thank you.
The Beekeeper's Journey. In the years that passed since Abbas Behishti took on the trade of Pavarish Dahenda, or beekeeper, the throne of Zahir Khan had been stolen by his cousin Sadar Dawood Khan and then taken over by the communists. Many Afghans regretted the loss to the country of its king, and many more were glad of it. The people of Kabul, watching to see what the communists would make of the country, at first were heartened when there were more cinemas opened in the capital. But disappointment soon followed. Zahir Khan had allowed cinemas to show films from Hollywood, but the communists showed only films from Russia.
Abbas Bahishti went to the cinema in Kabul, where he visited the city to buy parts for a new honey-making machine, one he had designed himself and then employed ball bearings. The film he saw told the story of a boy in the snowy parts of Russia who made friends with a black bear. He enjoyed the film mostly because the boy who made friends with the bear had a smile like that of his own son, Ishmael. But he was almost alone in liking the story. Others in the cinema cried out, "Alay fir kyonadi," which in Dari means shoot the bear. Wow. Strange. Okay, go ahead, Stephen.
No, you go read that last paragraph.
Okay, strangely enough, when the Russians themselves came to Afghanistan 2 years after Abbas' visit, the cinemas again began to show films from Hollywood. The Russian soldiers did not wish to see films about black bears in the snowy parts of Russia. They wished to see James Bond.
Abbas did not get the opportunity to visit the Kabul region again until the reign of the Russians in Afghanistan was 5 years old. Even then, he went unwillingly. The great leader of the Hazara people, Abdul Ali Mazari, lived in a village south of Mazari Sharif, had asked him to take a message to a man in the city of Charikar, a long journey to the east. The summons came as a surprise to Abbas. Abdul Ali Mazari was known to him in all Hazara as Baba Mazari, Father Mazari, even though he was not yet in his middle years, not even 40 at the time of the summons. Abbas's grandfather, Ismail, had in his lifetime known Abdul Ali well. He had predicted for him the life and honor of a hero, even when Abdul Ali was still a boy. He had told Abbas, "Men such as Abdul Ali come one time in 1,000 years. He is picked out by God for greatness, but he is not picked out by God for happiness." Ismail was right in this prediction, as he was in so many other matters. Baba Mazari had fought the soldiers of Zahir Khan when they attacked the Hazara in Hazarajat. He had fought the communists when Zahir Shah lost his throne to them, and he had fought the Russians when they came with their trucks and tanks and cannons and airplanes. In a time of fighting, he had seen his brother, Mohammed Sultan, younger than he, killed in battle against the communists. Then he lost his beloved sister in the fighting, then his father, his uncle, another uncle. Ismail did not live to see Baba Mazari's sorrow, but he knew it would come. It was Ahmad who, go ahead, it was
Ahmad Hussein's, once Abbas's master in the trade of beekeeping, now his honored friend, who brought the summons to him. He came on a day when the sky was dark with clouds above the Sangan hills, and a day only a week from the 10th birthday celebration of Abbas's son, a boy who had brought joy to his life since the hour of his birth. Abbas had 2 other children, 2 daughters, but he kept the boy Ishmael in the dearest place in his heart on account of his smile.
Go ahead.
Ahmad Hussein had kept to the trade of beekeeping, even with a beard now more white than black. His hives were still placed in the fields that Abbas remembered from his time of learning the trade. Abbas himself had moved to fields further south, where he yielded 10% of the honey harvest to the landowners, or 7% in a season of drought. Abbas's honey was flavored by the wildflowers of the Sangan region that the bees craved. Briars, Persian roses, and a bright red tulip with blooms that lasted no more than 2 days.
Ahmad Hussein's arrival was a great surprise. In his fields to the north, this was a busy time. The rains of late spring on his side of the hills caused blooms to crowd the fields. His bees filled the honeycomb so quickly that honey would drip in waste to the ground unless Ahmad Hussein drained the trays once every 3 days. Yet here he was, 2 days by horse and cart from where he should be. It is an honored custom of the Hazara tribes that Abbas and Ahmad Hussein were born into, that is, the Daizinga and the Jaghori, only 2 of more than 20 Hazara tribes, not to show any great surprise when good news arrives, at least as adults. To remain calm, no matter how welcome the news, is thought to be a sign of maturity. If a Dazangi or Jaghori becomes excited by good news, like a child receiving a present, people might say, "Such a shame. He has a beard, but does he deserve it?" It is also thought to be a good sign if a man remains calm when the news is bad, but people are much more forgiving in the case of bad news. When Abbas recognized with joy his old master from a distance, he stood still in the field with a smile on his face and waited until Ahmad Hussein in his horse-drawn cart was beside him before raising his voice.
My master, said Abbas, God has brought you safely into my sight. You are very welcome on this ground. God keep you in health for 100 years and all of your family, replied Ahmad Hussein. The master climbed down from his cart and the 2 men embraced. Nothing more was said for 5 minutes while Ahmad Hussein held a big bowl made from the hide of a goat and filled with water for his mare to drink. Even when the mare had satisfied her thirst, the 2 friends, master and pupil, remained silent. Except for the warmth of their smiles, a person not familiar with the ways of the Hazara might have thought that the 2 men had no voices at all. Ahmed Hussein tapped the mare lightly on the nose, just above her nostrils, meaning, "We will be staying here for a time. Crop the grass." He pulled out the burrs that had become trapped in her tail, and with a rag dried the sweat inside her ears because it annoyed the mare to feel damp there. Then he asked Abbas, "The bees remain your friends?" "Surely." "Your children?" "They are well, thank you." "And your sons and your daughters?" "I thank you, they are well." "And your wife?" "She is well, I thank you." "And your wife who is living?" The first wife of Ahmed Hussein had died 10 years earlier, leaving him with a grief that still bowed his head. "My wife who is living is well, thank you." "Your father?" "My father is well, except for his ears. He hears little." "And your father, master?" The last Abbas had heard, Ahmed Hussein's father, at the age of 93 years, had expressed a wish to marry again since he was a widower. "He is well, I thank you, but his mind wanders in these late years of his life. God send us trials."
Something difficult was about to be said. Abbas understood this from the pauses between Ahmad Hussein's questions and replies. The very fact that Ahmad Hussein had come across the hills to the bee field made this seem more likely. Abbas had only water to offer his old teacher, but Ahmad Hussein had brought tea with him in a vacuum flask. The tea was still hot. This was the first vacuum flask Abbas had seen, and it filled him with the desire to own such a device himself, partly in order to postpone the difficult news out of respect for Ahmad Hussein, who would not want to see anxiety in his eyes, and partly to satisfy his curiosity. He studied the vacuum flask closely. "What is the inside made of, master?" "I think it's glass. It can be broken, and then you must purchase a new inside." "The tea remains hot inside the device?" "It remains hot if it is filled with hot tea. If it is filled with cold water, the water remains cold." "A marvel. And it is called a vacuum flask, as you say?" "A vacuum flask, as I say. I don't know why." "A vacuum," said Abbas, "is nothing. I must think about it. Truly, think about it while you work. I have been to see our master." "Our master?" "Baba Mazari asked for me. An honor, a great honor. He is well by God's grace, our great master. He is well by God's grace, but he has his sorrows. God has asked much of him. God has asked much of him, as you say. He hopes to see you." "To see me?" "He hopes to see you not this day or the next, but the day that follows." "Then I must go." "You must go, Abbas. Do you know the reason?" "I do, but you must hear it from Baba Mazari himself." Maybe that's a good place to stop.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah,
Unless you
that
would
would
like
be
to,
great. I
I
put
think
a,
that's a good place. I think that's a good place to stop.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
we can continue next time.
Yeah, but it's a
Okay.
very, very powerful, beautiful story. And in the beauty is a great deal of sorrow, because the whole life of the Hazara is a mixture of beauty and unbelievable sorrow. So,
Mm,
and bravery, unbelievable courage and fortitude to have survived 900 years under those conditions, you know?
Mhm, mhm.
So anyway,
wow.
yeah, that's why this is such a great book, because it's written completely from the heart, you know?
Mhm.
Well, the
So
author is, one of the authors is from that
he's a
heritage.
Hazara, yeah,
Right,
yeah. And
exactly.
his
So he
co-author
captured
is,
it
yeah,
as truth.
right.
So I recently got a book called Song of Increase, Listening to the Wisdom of Honeybees for
Mhm.
Kinder
Honeybees.
Beekeeping. What? Yeah, exactly.
That's so
That's why I
funny.
brought it up.
That's so funny. This guy's a
Exactly. That's why I
master
brought it up.
beekeeper, right?
Yeah, that's why I thought I'd share what book I'm reading. For
Yeah,
kinder beekeeping and a better world.
right, right.
A
Yeah,
better world.
yeah.
So there's lessons in here, like Dagmar's story about the
Mhm.
Wawa
Maple,
geese, right? I
the
mean,
Wawa goose, the Wawa.
yeah.
Onk, onk, onk. Let's make like geese.
Let's make like geese.
Onk, onk.
Who was it that sent me? Dagmar, did you send me a video of the guy dancing like an eagle?
The
Video? Was it an eagle?
no, I sent you, I think was it a few days ago?
Yeah,
The older man dancing on the,
yeah.
no, I called it the free the turkey dance.
Free the turkey, that's what it was.
It was an incredible dance. My friend Birgit sent me the video, and I was trying to send it to as too many people as possible, because
Right.
every person in that circle was a senior. I don't know if you noticed, like
I
senior,
did.
and the guy dancing was just so incredibly, full of
I'll
it.
send it to you,
Please
Steve, and you would
send
get a
it to
kick
me. I
out
would
of it.
love to see it, because
Yeah.
the Plains Indians have an incredible dance imitating the prairie chicken.
I've seen it
So-
at powwow.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of the dancers are so good because they do the bobbing of the head and the.
That's right. They do. They look just like prairie chickens. So this is a free the turkey.
Well, I call it that. I don't think it is.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's because it was sent to me the day before Thanksgiving. And I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
this is
All
what
right.
I'm feeling
It
about
seemed
this dance.
appropriate,
Right,
right?
right.
Right. It's great. So should we go to the Cuban music, and I'll finish this one, and then I'll make you a co-host, Stephen, and you'll do the next one.
Okay.
next music.
Or you said, Dawn, you wanted to read that.
Read
That-
what?
The bee thing.
Oh
No?
no, I just got this book. I haven't
Oh, okay.
figured out a point to read yet. I just got
Okay.
this.
I
Next
have,
time.
before we play the music, I have a,
Oh, you have something from the sun, right?
from this, yeah, I have a and I have the first couple of pages from Braiding Sweetgrass.
Okay.
So I'd like to
great.
read those two, okay?
Let's-
So
yeah,
let
wonderful.
me read that one first from the sun. Okay. It's called Preparations by Bill Glossy. Summertime, I slip ice into the neck of my water bottle, long, thin strips from a special tray whose cubes resemble icicles. In the winter, I step onto the welcome mat to taste the air and get a feel for how many layers I'll need. You can prepare for some things, others fall on you like meteors ripping open the sky. My brain-injured friend has difficulty forming coherent sentences. One day we were making plans to run the Disney World Marathon. Then she was pushing a walker, finding it hard to navigate corners in her house. Life and all it grants us is but a short-term loan. Most acquaintances don't understand why I rise so early to pound pavement in never-ending loops. Because I can.
Yay. Yay. God, I get that.
That's the story of life right there. Why do you do it? Because I can,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
That's what they asked Bill Clinton about his messing around with Monica. Why did you do it? Because I could.
That's nasty.
That
Well,
was
and, you know,
nasty. That was really nasty. Right?
taking it to a different level
That's a different level.
when things
Absolutely.
in technology are not
Yeah.
for human wellness,
Right. Right.
then you have to
Yeah.
say just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
That's right.
That I say that much more often than just
Right.
because I can.
Yeah.
I say
No.
just because you can doesn't mean you should.
That's right. No. No. You're absolutely right. But
Yeah.
but it's the one is taking advantage of things, the other is manifesting things. Right.
Well, and
one is
it's a
manifesting
point of
and the other is
values.
taking
It's
advantage.
people's values.
Right. It's people's values.
People's
Okay.
values.
So
And just on behalf of Monica, Monica went to Washington, D.C. with her intention to be a lover of Clinton.
Mm.
She went with that intention.
Did she?
Yeah.
She said that in her.
She said that. She said
Yeah.
that. She was she went as an intern to be. So,
Wow.
you know, there's a
Wow.
mutuality there.
it
Wow.
took two to it took two to tango. Shall we
Exactly.
say.
She
Right.
wasn't, yeah.
She wasn't an ingenue that was taken advantage
Exactly.
of. Right. Right.
You
Right.
know,
And
not one person. They were two adults.
That's right. And there's
End
a
of
recent
story.
story about her that I haven't read. I saw a link to a story about, she's got her own design. She's a designer and she designs
Yeah.
handbags, and apparently they're quite in demand,
Yeah. So.
Okay. So shall I read this last?
Monica designs handbags?
Yes.
Yeah, she has been
Yes,
for years.
She has been for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like 175 or 200 bucks, or
they're
were
expensive bags.
And the orders became so many that she had to hire people to make them. She just designs them now. She used to make them herself.
Right. Oh
Yeah.
God. Okay.
All right. Anyway,
All right.
this is
Please
called
go.
Sky Woman Falling.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
In winter, when the green earth lies resting beneath a blanket of snow, this is the time for storytelling. The storytellers begin by calling upon those who came before, who passed the stories down to us, for we are only messengers. In the beginning, there was the sky world. She fell like a maple seed, pirouetting on an autumn breeze. A column of light streamed from a hole in the sky world, marking her path where only darkness had been before. It took her a long time to fall. In fear, or maybe hope, she clutched a bundle tightly in her hand. Hurling downward, she saw only dark water below, but in that emptiness there were many eyes gazing up at the sudden shaft of light. They saw there a small object, a mere dust mote in the beam. As it grew closer, they could see that it was a woman, arms outstretched, long black hair billowing behind as she spiraled toward them. The geese nodded at one another and rose together from the water in a wave of goose music. She felt the beat of their wings as they flew beneath to break her fall. Far from the only home she'd ever known, she caught her breath at the warm embrace of soft feathers as they gently carried her downward. And so it began. The geese could not hold the woman above the water for much longer, so they called a council to decide what to do. Resting on their wings, she saw them gather loons, otters, swans, beavers, fish of all kinds. A great turtle floated in their midst and offered his back for her to rest upon. Gratefully, she stepped from the goose wings onto the dome of the shell. The others understood that she needed land for her home and discussed how they might serve her need. The deep divers among them had heard of mud at the bottom of the water and agreed to go find some. Loon dove first, but the distance was too far, and after a long while he surfaced with nothing to show for his efforts. One by one, the other animals offered to help, otter, beaver, sturgeon, but the depth, the darkness, and the pressures were too great for even the strongest of swimmers. They returned gasping for air with their heads ringing. Some did not return at all. Soon only little Muskrat was left, the weakest diver of all. He volunteered to go while the others looked on doubtfully. His small legs flailed as he worked his way downward, and he was gone a very long time. They waited and waited for him to return, fearing the worst for their relative, and before long, a stream of bubbles rose with the small, limp body of the muskrat. He had given his life to aid this helpless human. But then the others noticed that his paw was tightly clenched, and when they opened it, there was a small handful of mud. Turtle said, "Here, put it on my back, and I will hold it." Sky Woman bent and spread the mud with her hands across the shell of the turtle. Moved by the extraordinary gifts of the animal, she sang in thanksgiving and then began to dance, her feet caressing the earth. The land grew and grew as she danced her thanks, from the dab of mud on Turtle's back until the whole earth was made, not by Sky Woman alone, but from the alchemy of all the animal's gifts coupled with her deep gratitude. Together they formed what we know today as Turtle Island, our home. Like any good guest, Sky Woman had not come empty-handed. The bundle was still clutched in her hand. When she toppled from the hole in the sky world, she had reached out to grab onto the tree of life that grew there. In her grasp were branches, fruits, and seeds of all kinds of plants. These she scattered on the new ground and carefully tended each one until the world turned from brown to green. Sunlight streamed through the hole from the sky world, allowing the seeds to flourish. Wild grasses, flowers, trees, and medicines spread everywhere. And now that the animals too had plenty to eat, many came to live with her on Turtle Island.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. I tell that story.
Yeah,
that's a story I tell. But she also was pregnant, and she gave birth to 2 boys, and one of them went off, as the story goes. One created all good things and easy things in the world, and the other created problematic things. Yeah.
Darkness and light. Yeah.
And things like, spiders and snakes and mosquitoes and
Right.
everything that annoys us, and the other one created good. And then apparently somewhere along the way, she was killed by I don't know. I don't know that part of the story, but it goes on. The story it's a long story.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you read it from Braiding Sweetgrass or elsewhere?
No. There's the Iroquois use it as their creation story,
Right.
and the Lenape have a similar story
Yeah.
of the Sky Woman. It's in some nations, not all of them.
Yeah.
But, like it's not out west like
it's not out in the plains. It's not out in the West Coast. It's the eastern nations. Yeah. But anyway, I thought it would complement what we did. I think we wrapped everything up in a nice bundle. We had a nice bundle here.
It's a nice bundle.
Too bad we each didn't have some sweetgrass, or because I normally, before I use my drum, I smudge it. I don't like to just take it out of the case, but I didn't think there was time. So when we're done, I'm going to go smudge my drum and thank you for offering me the beat and say, sorry, I didn't get to smudge you before.
That's great.
That's
a nice thing.
Yeah, but it was telling me, you didn't smudge me. I said, I know I didn't smudge you.
Right.
It was the situation. If I'd known in advance that I was going to be using my drum, I would have smudged it before we started.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not forgetting. I will smudge you when we're done.
And maybe she wants to say some more. Who knows?
Who knows? So
it's great.
So shall we play the last part of that
I'll
song?
play the remainder, and then we'll come back, and then you'll become co-host. Okay, Stephen?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Very good.
So let's see.
Are we gonna go on? Is there more? We're doing
Yeah,
more?
we're doing music now, Dagmar.
Oh,
Just for a few minutes.
Yeah, we start and end with music usually.
oh, okay.
This is called Lágrimas Negras, Black Tears.
Mm.
Ahí nada más. ¿Cómo? Ahí nada más, muchas gracias.
Oh my God, now what do I
just
do?
I just came back from 8 days in Cuba, so I heard a bit of that music there. But this
Wow.
guy is a Cuban master who lives in Seattle now. But
Seattle.
this last one that Dawn is going to switch me over to play was a street thing he did in Cuba several years ago. His name is Kiki Valera.
Kiki Valera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There you go. Okay.
Okay, I'm now a host. Okay, let
Yep.
me minimize this for a second so I can see what's on my screen. Okay. This is it. Just a minute.
me mata, me mata, me mata mi alcoba. Esta vida parrandera me mata, me mata, me mata mi alcoba.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Señor, que me mata mi alcoba.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Con lo puro que me mata mi alcoba.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Mi vida, qué linda que eres, no me canso de mirarte, pero no me atrevo a hablarte, porque no sé si me quieres. Si alguno a ti te dijere que yo me muero por ti, no dudo que estés así, y te han dicho la verdad. Si mi corazón está resuelto a morir por ti, lo que me mata me acabo.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Me mata, me acaba.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
En este espacio sonoro, notas tiernas y sencillas. En este espacio sonoro, notas tiernas y sencillas. Llevará las maravillas del son de mis cuerdas de oro. Me mata, me acaba.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Te lo juro, me mata y me acaba.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Yo soy Valera y me llamo la flor de la maravilla. Yo soy Valera y me llamo la flor de la maravilla. Vengo regando semillas por lo alto y por lo llano. Me mata, me acabo.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Sí, señor, me mata, me acabo.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Te lo juro que me mata y me acaba.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Kiki, ponle y abusa.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Te autorizo. Porque me mata y me acabo.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Me mata y me acabo.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Como águila prisionera en la jaula del amor. Como águila prisionera en la jaula del amor. Mira si será dolor por quererte y que no me quieras. Me mata, me acabo.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Te lo juro, me mata y me acabo. Por mi madre que me mata y me acaba.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
Esta vida parrandera me mata.
So,
Guys, I have to leave.
Thank you,
I have to take this
Stephen.
phone call. I have to
Okay,
take a phone
Dagmar, thanks for being here. That's the close anyway.
call. Bye.
Bye.
bye. Wait a minute.
Pause and stop recording.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm trying to,
Are you sure you want to stop recording?
yeah, I want to